Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a horror film, DREADOUT. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The film begins in an apartment where cultists are holding a woman's family hostage. The leader physically forces the gifted woman to read an invocation from an ancient parchment. The woman reluctantly reads the shining writing on the parchment as her daughter is being held as a hostage. Also being held down by the cultists is a demonic woman who warns the mother to stop the incantation. The mother doesn't finish reading the chant as she becomes possessed and collapses. The door suddenly barges open, and the police break in and shoot the leader before he can stab the demonic woman with the Karis knife. After doing so, they rescue the little girl away from the traumatic scenery. The scene suddenly transitions to Linda, waking up to the sound of the school bell. Before leaving the classroom, Linda's teacher warns her that her scholarship will be gone if she does not get a better mark next semester. After her classes, Linda goes to the convenience store that she works for. She begins stacking the fridge with soft drinks, and as she does so, her friend records her on a live stream. The views immediately increase as the viewers are mesmerized by Linda's beauty and simplicity. Her friend ends the live stream and helps Linda to stack the fridge. Linda's friend attempts to convince her to be an internet sensation, but Linda does not want to earn money that way. Unlike most students in her school, Linda is not financially privileged, so she has to be a working student to save up for college. Eric, a senior, cuts in and gives Linda a can of soft drinks rolled over the aisle. Linda is shocked to see Eric up close, that she distractingly stacks the shelves with soft drinks instead of the fridge. Eric nicely points out her mistake, and Linda immediately takes the soft drinks. However, she accidentally drops one on the floor, causing it to spur on Eric. Linda immediately apologizes, but Eric takes the burst can and goes to the counter to pay it. Linda can only watch him as he walks away, but her moment is ruined when she realizes that her friend has been recording them. Meanwhile, Eric's friends, who are obsessed with boosting their social media popularity, are outside the convenience store. They want to stream an excursion into the haunted apartment building, and Linda knows the security guard. So later that day, Biddy and Jessica convince Linda to use her connection with the guard. Linda reluctantly agrees when Jessica hands her a pair of earrings as a down payment for her help. Jessica promises to pay the rest after they do the stream. Later that night, before he leaves, the guard warns them to be careful. They begin the stream, and the group even has the time to fool around and pretend to be ghosts just for the views. Alex, the hot-tempered joker, dresses up as a white lady to scare the viewers. The live stream stops because of the poor signal, so the group wants to go elsewhere. Linda informs them that the guard had warned her that they should not go to the areas with police lines. However, the group, even Diane, the only sensible girl compared to Jessica, dismisses Linda's warning and forego the restricted areas. They pass through a corridor and find a door with police lines. They open it, and a foul and strange smell welcomes them. They turn on the lights, and Jessica immediately returns to her live stream, which quickly goes as there's no signal. They find the floor covered with sheets of paper, and as they remove them, it reveals a circle engraved with strange symbols. They also find a small hole on the floor, and when Alex checks out the insides, he takes out the ancient papers. They spread them on the table, and Diane takes a flash photograph of them. Linda repeatedly sees the writing on the blank parchment paper, but the others cannot see it. She insists that every time the camera flashes, the writing shows, but no one believes her, as they cannot see it with their eyes. So to prove that she's right, Linda recites the incantation out loud. For a while, nothing happens, but then a swarm of insects hits the windows, and the circle on the floor suddenly transforms into a black whirlpool that pulls everyone under. Linda swims to the surface, but instead of resurfacing to the room, she finds herself in a forest of another realm. Meanwhile, the others resurface to the room, only to discover that Linda and Jessica are not with them. Eric dives in to look for them, but he cannot find them as the pool is too deep. As Eric informs them that the pool has no bottom, everyone is shocked and terrified. On the other hand, Linda wanders the woods looking for her friends, but she soon discovers a cemetery. A hand suddenly emerges from the grave and grabs her foot, but Linda repeatedly kicks it off until she's free. However, the corpse comes out from the ground and attacks Linda with a sickle. Linda dodges the attacks, accidentally throwing her phone that hits a rock. This causes her camera flash to flick repeatedly, which makes the corpse back off. Linda notices what's happening and realizes that she can ward off the corpse using her camera flash. Linda immediately runs away while the camera flash hurts the corpse. But then, she falls onto a dug empty grave. As expected, the corpse returns to attack her, but Linda quickly uses the camera flash. which fortunately bursts the carcass into onion pieces. After that, Linda drags herself up from the empty grave and begins to look for her friends again. Meanwhile, the others frantically inform the guard about what happened, and although he finds the idea of a whirlpool in an apartment ridiculous, he checks out the room. The night has arrived at that same time, but Linda is still alone in the forest. She begins to lose hope, but then she finds a shrine-like house, which she enters. Although scared, Linda wanders the house in hopes of finding her friends. Her hopes are not crushed, as she finds Jessica in a room. However, she's tranced and not alone. A demonic woman dressed in a white kebaya blouse dresses Jessica in a red kebaya. After changing Jessica's clothes, the demonic woman leaves the room. Linda immediately goes to Jessica and wakes her up so they can leave. As Jessica wakes up and finds herself in a strange dress, she begins to panic. Linda repeatedly shushes her, so the demonic woman cannot hear them and they can leave quietly. However, Jessica does not calm down, and as expected, the woman in white kebaya returns. The two can only watch in fear as they witness the demonic woman crawl to the ceiling with her head twisted. The sinister woman drops to the floor and attacks the two. She sits on Linda's shoulders and attempts to kill her using a Karis knife. But Linda fights back and the two of them crash through a wall. Meanwhile, the guard finally believes the group when they return to the room and find the whirlpool. Too terrified from what they experienced, Alex suggests leaving Jessica and Linda trapped in the whirlpool. However, the guard points out that the police will investigate their friend's disappearance, even though they get out. The others take a closer look at the ancient papers, only to find pictures of a woman dressed in a red kebaya standing in front of a house and killing a mob of people attacking her. The only man who survived was the guy at the front line, and he held a Karis knife. Upon inspecting the papers, the group realizes that the whirlpool is the portal that leads to the woman's house in another realm. Meanwhile, Linda kills the sinister woman through the crash, so she immediately rescues Jessica. Jessica changes her clothes first, while Linda finds the Karis knife that the woman in a white kebaya tried to kill her with. As they prepare to leave the sinister home, a demonic woman wearing a red kebaya shows up and accuses them of killing her sister. They immediately flee the house as the red kebaya lady yells in anger. They run into the woods where the portal is, and Linda immediately dives in, but Jessica stays behind as she gets captured by the red kebaya lady. Linda resurfaces in the apartment building, and the guys immediately drag her from the water. Not long after her, Jessica's unconscious body floats in the whirlpool, so the trio removes her from the water. Linda notices that she's wearing a red kebaya, and she is confused because Jessica had already changed into her uniform before they departed. Eric pumps her chest, and Jessica quickly sits up and coughs out the water from her body. However, she loses consciousness again, and when she regains it, her eyes are all white, revealing that she's in a state of possession. A now-possessed Jessica takes the axe, and through her camera, Linda sees the red kebaya lady controlling her friend like a puppet. Along with the group, the guard attempts to snap Jessica out of being possessed, but instead, she swings the axe, cutting off the guard's hand. The guard kneels on the floor as he screams in pain, but Jessica pushes him into the whirlpool. After him, Jessica attacks Linda by pinning her to the wall and putting her hand around Linda's neck. She vomits green blood on Linda and demands the Karis knife be returned. Linda repeatedly flashes her camera, but Jessica slaps her hand, throwing her phone. Just then, Eric charges at Jessica, stopping her attack on Linda. However, Jessica overpowers him and throws him into the whirlpool. Alex dives into the whirlpool, but he drags Jessica with him, and as they travel into another realm, the portal suddenly closes. Diane, Linda, and Benny are the only people left in the apartment. Linda shares that the sinister souls get hurt whenever she uses her camera flash, although she has no idea why. Benny believes that it is because of Linda's unique ability that allows her to see what they can't. Linda also shares that she was the child who was kidnapped in the same apartment years ago. Linda remembers some of it, but she forgot who her kidnapper was. They also realize that the pictures depicted in the ancient papers are happening to them. After reviewing them once more, Linda concludes that they need to return the Karis knife to the red kebaya lady in order to stop their nightmare. However, Benny has other plans and insists on taking the Karis knife to an occultist he knows. They attempt to leave the establishment, but as soon as they get out of the apartment, they find Jessica walking toward them, dragging the axe on the floor. Jessica swings the axe toward Benny, who immediately dodges the attack. The axe gets stuck in the walls, so the trio hurriedly returns to the apartment. As they enter, the portal suddenly reopens, and Jessica breaks the door with the axe. After that, she grabs Linda's hair, so Benny slashes Jessica's arm with the Karis knife in a desperate attempt. Benny checks if Linda is still outside, but unknown to them, she has already teleported into the room. She grabs Diane from behind and forcefully takes the Karis knife from Benny. Linda repeatedly flashes her camera, causing Jessica to get hurt, and drops the Karis knife. Diane tries to free herself from Jessica's grip, but Jessica doesn't let go and drags her into the whirlpool. Linda dives in after Diane and resurfaces inside an otherworldly house. Linda wanders the house and finds her friends levitating while entranced behind a mirror. Linda takes a chair to break the mirror, but the red Kebaya lady forces her to sit down on it. It turns out the red Kebaya lady is the ruler of another realm, and she gives severe punishments to people who trespass on her territory, especially those who steal from her and kill her sister. The red Kebaya lady forces Linda to put the Karis knife under her chin to kill herself. But Linda fights back and flashes her camera right in front of the red Kebaya lady, freeing herself from death. The red Kebaya lady attacks again, slamming Linda into the mirrors and tearing it into pieces. Before she kills Linda, Benny arrives and stabs her with the Karis, rescuing Linda. Benny forces Linda to come with him before the red lady shows up again and attacks them. Linda does not want to leave her friends behind, but Benny keeps insisting that they go because Linda is more important than the rest of them. Linda then notices the tattoo on Benny's chest and realizes that he's related to the cult leader who kidnapped her before. Benny sees this and reveals that he's the son of the cult leader, and he was tasked to protect her because Linda inherited her mother's power to open the portal. However, when the police shot his father dead, he blamed Linda's mother. Benny forces Linda again to open the portal, but his attempt gets interrupted when their friends regain consciousness and show up. Linda and Benny regroup with their friends and the guard, and all of them rush outside upon seeing blood dropping on a painting of the red Kebaya lady. They run to the forest and fight their way through the zombies as the cloud pours blood. After that, they go to where the portal first appeared. Linda reads the incantation from the parchment paper, opening the portal. Alex, Diane, Eric, and the guard return to their reality, while Linda and Jessica stay behind for Benny, who refuses to leave the realm without the Karis knife. He finds the Karis knife not far from the portal, but the lady shows up and attacks him by throwing him into the trees. After him, she moves on to Linda, cracking her phone before she can use it against her. As she prepares to kill her, Linda grabs the Karis knife and stabs it into her chick neck. The lady lets out a scream of pain as she floats away. Linda immediately goes to Jessica and dives into the whirlpool with her. The portal closes as Jessica and Linda resurface into the apartment, but they notice that Benny is still trapped in the sinister realm. At everyone's insistence, Linda recites the incantation. But to their dismay, the portal does not open again as it is after dawn. The group leaves the haunted apartment and drives to the hospital to reattach the guard's hand. The film ends with Benny's mother receiving a disturbing video of her son being possessed by the red Kebaya lady. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.